Left front all the way around those last three corners, aren't you? Down to the pit lane. Bourdais, we hear, is getting out of his car, and Will Power is getting out of the throttle and coming onto pit lane. You can see that smoke.
Oh, this is not good. It's going to be very hard. You got to be very careful. Oh, the tires come off now. The tire is starting to fall apart. As if just, oh, careful, Will.
Get around there, yeah, really. Cameron Steele is in the Team Australia pit. There is Paul Tracy now under pressure from Graham Rahal. And we're pretty sure that Rahal, we're told that Graham Rahal has to make one more pit stop.
I just don't know about Paul Tracy. Cameron Steele said he has a puncture. There was no contact. He's coming in. The tire is locked in the front. They do have a new spare nose cone standing by. They will not need it. Just going to be the tires, and he'll be away.
They have a good look over that car before they send him on his way, but what a disappointment for these guys. That was the Brendan Cleaver carrying that helmet cam there on the left at front, so wheel changer for Will Power, but what a disaster for him. He was in position here to pick up an awful lot of points and maybe even challenge the championship lead that Sebastian Bourdais had held. I don't think now, though, he's going to get many points at all. He'll get a few more than Sebastian Bourdais, but not nearly as many as he wanted. There is Bourdais out of his car, comparing notes with his race engineer, Craig Hampson. A shame for those guys. It's Hampson doing all the talking here. I think both of them could have been a razor blade, couldn't they?
I can't really say anything, Jeremy. I've got sort of a similar thing going on, but this is what we want to pay attention to now. It is the battle for the lead. Graham Rahal, who's led his first ever Champ Car laps earlier this race. Now, of course, these are the two that got together at the beginning of this race, lap 6 or 7, that kind of put them off strategy, which has now allowed them to be first and second in this race. And it looks like Graham Rahal has the faster car right now with the kind of distance that he's running behind PT and the loss of downforce that you have when running this close. So Graham maybe a bit quicker, Paul prone to making a mistake or two. Who knows?
It looked like Rahal was a good bit quicker coming out of turn 10 there, but he's not close enough to make a challenge down at turn 1. Look at that PT, that's how hard he's trying. He locks up the right front brake, and is Rahal going to get a run on the exit? PT, he made sure he got off the corner when he got off the brakes, he locked him up there. Now, can Rahal look to the inside? He does. Is he going to make a pass?
He was not close enough. The thing here is big oversteer from Graham. With that corner being so wide, you can actually hold the outside and still carry quite a bit of speed in, but I was surprised neither guy got onto the Cosworth Power to pass. That would have been a perfect opportunity for Graham to use his little red button, get that extra boost of horsepower to try and get by PT for the race lead, but he just didn't get it done.
He's got about 17 seconds worth left to use of that Cosworth Power to pass. Paul Tracy has almost identical amount. Robert Dornbosch in third place has a full 35 seconds worth of that Cosworth Power to pass. We talk about it, it's a button on the steering wheel. When you press that button, the electronic systems on the engine allow you an extra 300 RPM, about an extra 50 horsepower, and that, generally speaking, is enough of a power boost to get you at least alongside somebody on one of these long straightaways here in Cleveland. And if you can get alongside someone, maybe you can make that pass under braking for the next corner. But neither of them using them on that occasion, and it's still Paul Tracy out in front. Graham Rahal dogging his wheel tracks in second place. The Medizone car of Newman Haas landing and racing, and Robert Dornbosch lurking there in third as well. There is that battle again. You can see the interval between just 0.6 of a second. Cameron Steele.
Definitely not happy. Sebastian Bourdais sitting here getting some information from his crew about Graham Rahal and what's going on there. Sebastian, what happened to the car?
Just the engine let go, that's it. I don't know exactly what the failure is, but we think it's the auxiliary on the engine, and just let go all of a sudden. That's it.
I know a tough break with the points, but did you see that Will Power also has had some problems with the flat tire?
Yeah, I guess it's not a good day for the fast cars.
Right on, there you have it, a disappointed Sebastian Bourdais.
He talks about the auxiliary there, presumably means the auxiliary oil pump on that car, the external oil pump that is apparently failed on Sebastian Bourdais' car. You could hear the disappointment in his voice. And meanwhile, his teammate there in second place is Graham Rahal. This is the track, we've said it before, his father, Bobby, won his first Champ Car victory. It was the very first Grand Prix of Cleveland way back 25 years ago. Can history repeat itself?
Yeah, that would just be such a storybook ending to this Grand Prix here for Graham Rahal. And not only it's his first race here at Cleveland to get his first Champ Car win, obviously. It wasn't Bobby's first win, was it? It was Bobby's first win. Fantastic stuff here. Graham Rahal tracking down leader Paul Tracy in the dying minutes here at the Grand Prix of Cleveland.
Paul Tracy leads. So here it is. The battle is heating up. It is PT's out in front, but does he now have enough fuel inside 7 minutes to go now? Probably therefore 7 laps to go. And he would prefer it to be 6 laps, I am sure. Graham Rahal, he made his last pit stop on lap 58. We've had some full course caution period in here as well. I think about 4 laps or so, which you certainly lose a lot less fuel under caution than under green. Probably you use half as much fuel when the track is yellow as compared to under green. Is that going to be enough for Graham Rahal? We'll have to wait and see either of these two in actual fact. But Robert Dornbosch, no doubt about it, the Minardi Team USA car, number 14, in 3rd place right now. He is definitely good to go, as is Neil Jarni in 4th place. So Jarni, boy, he's had some ups and downs this season, certainly more downs than ups. And his fuel consumption has been particularly lamentable, according to his team engineers. But he's got himself up into 4th place now by hook or crook, and the fact that several other guys have had problems. And there is Robert Dornbosch. Done an excellent job with this Minardi Team USA entry. And Paul Starlight, of course, took over ownership, part ownership of this team with Keith Wiggins. The team was previously known by the Erdes competition and HVM. And last year CTE Racing as well. Cedric the Entertainer, also a minority partner in that team. And here is Dornbosch, he's in 3rd place. The Dutchman, still a test and reserve driver for Red Bull Racing Formula 1 team. Last week at Indianapolis, Robert was there in the pit lane, cheering on David Coulthard and Mark Webber. And he's hopeful of getting another Formula 1 opportunity in the past, but he wanted to go racing this year. That's why he's in the Champ Car World Series. And Mark Johnson of PKV Racing is in the pit lane, standing by with one of our pit reporters. And here is Neil Jarni, the first of the two the only one of the 2 PKV cars still running in this race. Normandy we saw crash out earlier on. And there is Justin Wilson right behind the Red Bull car, Neil Jarni. Bill Stevens.
Well, we're down with the man that's watching this for Neil Jarni. It's Mark Johnson. Earlier this year, you gambled on fuel and rolled snake eyes. How do you feel today?
I hope we have a little better luck, but I think we're a little more confident today than we were the last time we did it. I think we're in pretty good shape. The guys on the Red Bull Gulfstream car have done a great job today, and we're just we're hoping we've got about 5 laps left and we can get there.
Are these raw numbers, or are you going by the seat of your pants?
We always go by the seat of our pants.
I love it.
And Robert Dornbosch, we read that Graham Rahal is going to be into the pit lane this time around. There was the Red Bull car of Neil Jarni, but this is the battle for the lead. So it's Paul Tracy leading from Graham Rahal, but we're now 4 minutes
and Rick
to go.
And Jan, Graham Rahal's crew has stepped over the wall, not completely, not 100% sure, but it looks like they're going to be bringing their car in for fuel.
Well, that would be, he's pulling to the left, yeah, Graham Rahal does bring that car onto pit lane. He made his last pit stop on lap 58. And Cameron Steele is in the Newman Haas Racing Lanigan racing team for the final stop of the day for Graham Rahal. He's had a great run. He's not going to win the race, but it's still been a fine effort. Cameron Steele.
Well, I was speaking to his mom just earlier, and she was very happy about the way the strategy was playing out. I walked back by her. She looked a little nervous. She wasn't biting her nails, but it definitely was one of those situations that today it hasn't played off as they go for a splash and go, and he'll be back out.
So there goes Graham Rahal, and Paul Tracy stopped 5 laps after Graham Rahal at the last round of pit stops. We've got less than 4 minutes to go now. PT should be able to get to the end of this race, but this man, Robert Dornbosch, hopes that is not the case. Robert Dornbosch is in 2nd place and charging hard. And if Dornbosch were to win this race, he would most likely take over the championship lead.
Well, I mean, even coming 2nd, he's only 4 points outside of the full points tally for a win here. So he's got to be close either way if things finish as they are. But like you say, Jeremy, Paul did stop 5 laps after Graham, and with just 2.5 minutes roughly left in this race, he should, in theory, be able to do it, which is just shocking. After 2 nose changes, 2 additional pit stops after mistakes by Paul, he's taken out other drivers. He ruined Graham's initial strategy. but he's kind of come back, and the gap between these two drivers now is closing. It's going to be an interesting shootout for the win.
It certainly is. There is PT pushing as hard as he possibly can without using the last resources of methanol fuel on board this car number 3, the in-deck car of Forsyth Championship Racing. There it goes through turn 7 and 8 one more time. A disastrous start to the race, but the race has come to Paul Tracy, and he has responded as well. He's been driving absolutely superbly since those early errors, and here he goes. It'll be less than 2 minutes to go now, and less than 2 laps to go for Paul Tracy. Robert Dornbusch is getting closer and closer. Last time around the gap was 1.6 seconds. Now as they come across the line, it is 1.0 seconds. So 2 laps to go and 1 second between the cars. Robert Dornbusch turns his fastest lap of the race at 58.201. Can he do it, James?
He is pushing, and he has 35 seconds of his Cosworth power to pass left. Paul Tracy, only 10. So if it comes down to a shootout, if it comes down to guys side-by-side drag racing at the end of the day, he is going to have slightly more in reserve than PT does.
That's exactly right. And he's got at least a couple more pushes of that Cosworth power to pass. It's set at 13 seconds here for each push of the Cosworth power to pass. That's the longest straightaway on this work lane for Airport course. And no doubt about it, Dornbusch is closing in. He's absolutely flying. And Paul Tracy, he's got only 10 seconds left. That's really just one straightaway's worth here at this racetrack. It's all or nothing now. Here comes the 1 lap to go signal. One finger there from the starter, and this is it. The final 2.1 miles. Robert Dornbusch turns it right out of the braking. Paul Tracy brakes a little bit too late. He locks up the wheels, but Dornbusch not quite close enough yet.
There's no reason for him to not be on his power to pass. Paul Tracy is. He is using it. He is using his last shot. Robert Dornbusch has held back as they head down into turn 3. Through turn 4, he is still right on the gearbox of Paul Tracy, who now has only 2 seconds of power to pass. That's essentially nothing.
And he's got 6 corners to go, 5 corners to go, 4 corners to go for Paul Tracy. Round 7 and 8 for one more time. 120 miles an hour, 5th gear through here, absolutely on the limit. It looks like PT is going to have enough fuel now. Dornbusch has to use the Cosworth power to pass on this straightaway. Our telemetry shows that he is not using it, and now he's going to got this final chicane. He has to get a run out of it. PT now is looking good. He's made that exit to the corner, and here we come. The checkered flags are waiting. It's been 2 years for Paul Tracy, but amazingly, he comes through to win the race. What an epic turnaround for Paul Tracy. Cleveland in 2005, his last victory. He's had so many disappointments since then. This race started off absolutely disastrously. 2 changes of nose in the first dozen laps of the race, and he ends up winning it. It was a great performance, though, after he got those mistakes out of the way, wasn't it?
He certainly looked like a complete rank amateur at the beginning of this race, but Paul Tracy in true form has brought it all back, winning on the 2-year anniversary of his last victory. He will be steering his Forsyth Championship Racing car back into victory lane, and you can just see how elated this crew is. It's been such a long time coming. They've had so many disappointments, Jeremy, as you say, and as early as this morning and earlier this afternoon, they've been having disappointments, but they came back in such fantastic fashion.
It's his 31st career win in the Champ Car World Series. That equals the tally of Al Unser Jr. It's his 3rd win here in Cleveland, and it's his first win since he won on this very same racetrack 2 years ago. And you know, I spoke to him at Portland on Saturday. It was. He crashed on his out lap on Friday morning, did a lot of damage to the car, had to switch to the backup car in Portland. Struggled all weekend long, and he was struggling qualifying on Saturday. I saw him right afterwards. He said, you know, Jeremy, it's days like this I really begin to wonder about retirement, because he was really down in the dumps. He struggled this weekend as well, but it's all come good for Paul Tracy. A great performance, and it's Paul Tracy who wins the Grand Prix of Cleveland. And there is a wave there from Robert Dornbusch in 2nd place, and I'm just astonished he didn't use that Cosworth power to pass in the last couple of laps. He's got 35 seconds worth left of that Cosworth power to pass, and that's a big advantage, James.
You know, sometimes when you're out there, you do forget that you have it, but I can almost guarantee that his engineer, Michael Cannon, would have been telling him, Robert, you got a few seconds left. You might want to use your little red button, but just did not have the opportunity to do it. I'm surprised that he didn't try at some point. Either way, good run for him. And of course, Neil Johnny in the Red Bull PKV car coming home in 3rd place. A great result for that team. Justin Wilson 4th, and Simone Pagenaud the 1st of the Team Australia cars, of course, with Will Power having that tire problem, rounding out the top 5.
So I think Sebastian Bourdais is going to maintain his championship lead, but only just, I reckon, a 3 point margin over Robert Dornbusch. There are the unofficial results of round 5 of this year's Champ Car World Series. PT comes away with the victory. Robert Dornbusch in second place from Holland. Neil Jarni from Switzerland in third. The Englishman Justin Wilson fourth. Then Simon Pagenaud, a good top 5 run for Team Australia. He'll be disappointed, but it's still a good run for him. Alex Tagliani, Oriol